I've had a few days away, and the first day back on the plot is quite noticeable that some changes had taken place, and to me that shows that summer's on the way out. One of the first things I notice is the hanging baskets. Although they've still got plenty of flowers on, there's gaps starting to appear and they're starting to lose a bit of shape. Another thing noticeable is the tumbling toms in the baskets. These are not performed at all well this year. Been watered and fed regularly, but it looks as though there's blight got in there and them suffering now. I've just pulled these last two with kohlrabi. These are way past the sell by date, but the ones I had before was quite good. First time growing them for me, so next year I think they'll be on the list. One of the late jobs for summer for me is lifting the onions. A lot of people have already lifted theirs. These are the last of the few seed onions that I did. Like mixed variety, some big, some small. I think this one here is about the best one I've got. And I think that might have been one of the Kelsey seeds. As you can see from that, the fruit is dropping rapid right now, so rather than risk losing it all, I'm going to start picking it and store it in newspaper on the mushroom trays. Not sure of the size of this bucket. It's around probably 25 litres at least. This weigh a tonne, and by far the best crop of pears I've ever had off that tree. Another sure sign that the season's on its end is that the sunflower has started to go over. Not quite a good year this year as usual, and my usual variety Titan, I've had one or two go with multi-head for some reason, so I don't know why. Anyway, this is one of the decent sized ones, and I'm just going to put the tape measure on a few for the 2019 Sunflower Challenge, organised as usual by MuddyBootz Allotment Diary. These two sunflowers here was spares I'd left over for putting out in the beds, and rather than just let them get to waste, I popped them in the middle of the asparagus bed, and sure enough, one of them's come up trumps, this one. It's a bit of a weird shape. It's like a face, like it's elongated. It's got like a slot in the middle, which could be the mouth. Anyway, I'm going to drop the tape measure on what I think's the longest part, right up to the edge of the leaves, across and to there. As you can see, that's right on 21 inches. Having a look in the Brassica cage, the cabbages are ticking over nicely, but over on the cauliflowers, they're coming up thick and fast, and one or two are in danger of blowing. So I'm going to harvest what I can, use, and put the rest in the freezer. Charlotte potatoes are still lying in these buckets, so I'm going to be emptying a couple of these and they'll be going towards our lunch. The allotment greenhouse is getting a bit overgrown again, so I'm going to have to do a bit of thinning out of the foliage, but you can see there's still plenty of tomatoes on here, especially this one here. There's the sweet million, but this one has actually succumbed to blight. It was pointed out by one of the other plot holders who coming in and had a look. So still got a good crop of tomatoes though, and I'm sure these will still change. But it's nice to know these are against the Crimson Crush, Mountain Magic and Fairline, and I'm still in fine fettle, so the blight hasn't affected those at all. The cucumbers have gone berserk. You can see there's still loads of flowers on. I don't know how many cucumbers we've had off, but we've had lots. I've got far too many cucumbers in here. I think there's 4 in here, is there? But next year I've decided I'm just going to grow the mini munch, because I find them, I like the taste and there's no waste in them at all. And this is the harvest that I've done. This is from the 2 30-litre tubs of the Charlotte potatoes. What is noticeable, some of the larger ones have got scab coming on them now, so I think that's a good indicator to get them out as soon as possible. Hopefully, weather permitting, they'll be coming out next week. And over to here, we've got a couple of the Clapton cauliflowers. Them are just on the verge of going over. Another picking of the Cobra and Blue Lake beans mixed. And these there are the runner beans, and they're the variety's Benchmaster. A lovely bean, a bit late maturing they are for me, but nice and straight and long and not stringy at all. I'm just doing a harvest of the tomatoes now, and living so close to the allotment, it's realised how fortunate I am that I'm able to get in here and water them quite regularly. As a consequence of that, I very rarely get any problems with them. But those of you who live farther away, and there's a guy on our side who works away quite often, a lot in the week, and has problems getting down watering, but I tend to help out when I can. And this year he's used the Capillary system, which we saw on another site we visited, and it's the second year using it this year. We did adapt it a bit better to last year, and it's been very successful. I'll pop you down to his greenhouse and show you what it is. This is the watering system that I was referring to, and it's based basically on a standard capillary system that's used in a lot of systems. I think the VeggiePod system is a similar thing to this. Whereas we get the containers. Well, I'll put a little graphic up on the screen as well to probably explain it a little bit better. We've got the pots there, and the plants in the middle, and there's 2 capillary wicks which we cut out of matting, about an inch wide, 2.5 centimetres wide, goes down the full length of the pot and out the bottom, and that then drops into the tray, which is full of water, and the plants then suck up whatever they need. So it's more or less impossible to overwater. All you need to do is top the trays up as and when they get near the bottom. Originally last year we had these pots directly into the water and it didn't work very well, but just raising them on this piece of wood, it has worked a lot better. And as you can see from the fruits, some fantastic crops of tomatoes on there. There's none have split, and it looks like it's the way forward. One improvement I'm thinking of doing for next year is that these are just standard gravel trays. You can actually get extra deep ones, about 100mm, about 4 inches deep, which obviously then the need for filling them up gets less and less. But the principle of the system has worked very well, and the crop is a good reflection. Even the cucumbers have been incorporated into the system. The big long-term plan for the future maybe is to, say, replace the trays with some deeper 4-inch deep gravel trays, maybe interlink them and also supply the water feed via an IBC tank and the ball cock, so that when the water level drops it will automatically fill the tanks. While I was doing the tomato harvest, I realised that I've got a tomato trial going on this year with the 3 blight resistance on growing outside. There's Crimson Crush, Mountain Magic and Furline. Also I've got these varieties growing in the greenhouse, and them a little bit more advanced than those outside, obviously due to the extra heat. And looking around, and we've got at least 3 tomatoes similar size, so what I propose to do is a little taste test. So these are the candidates I've chosen for the blight resistant tomato taste test. On the left is Crimson Crush, in the centre we have Mountain Magic, and on the right we have Furline. I've tried to pick them all equal size. There's all sown on the same date, using the same compost, watered exactly the same, and harvested within a minute of each other. So that's as close as I can get the trial. So let's get on to the tasting. So here goes. First one, Crimson Crush. Nice and juicy, but feel the flavour. Might have been bitter. Second one, this is Mountain Magic. That feels a little bit sweeter, but the skin feels a little bit tougher. Finally, this one's called Furline. Got a lot of flavour in that. It's not as sweet as the others. It seems a lot fleshy. Close decision between Crimson Crush and Mountain Magic. I think Crimson Crush just about wins it for me. For the regular viewers of the channel, well, now the season didn't start off too good because the courgettes got a right battering from the slugs and snails, and with the demise of the traditional slug pellets as we know, I was looking for another solution. Tried all sorts of things, eggshells, coffee grounds and that, but having looked through my local garden centre, I've come through with this stuff. It's made by a company called Nudoff, and this is a slug and snail killer. It is traditional pellets again, but there's no slime as it says on there, and you can't see the slugs. They tend to go under the soil once they've taken the bait. It's got an organic badge on it. Not sure how much. Oh, it's 800 grams I can see on there. And while I was at it, I picked this up, the tomato feed as well. That is 1 litre, and it actually makes 100 litres, so it's obviously 100 to 1 mix. Quite happy with the results I've been getting off that in the greenhouse on the tomatoes and the cucumbers. I think the one on the left was $5.99 and the tomato feed was $6.99. So that'll be something I'll be adding again to my arsenal for the next season. These carrots in here are one of the first lot I sowed. They're sweet candle, but I just broadcast them, not put them out in stations and anything, so I'm not expecting any real size. I'll just have a dig down them really tight. As you can see from that, nothing of any size, but you get some males out of those. I'm going to be carrying on thinning this foliage out on the tomatoes. That's about it for this one, so see you in the next episode. Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.